Hello everyone, welcome back to Video Game Bits. I'm Brett, and if you haven't been to my channel before, nice to meet you. On this channel, we're all about video games, reminiscing about the retro games, talking about the new games, and everything in between. Now, I've been a lifelong gamer since about the age of 4. I cut my teeth with the Atari 2600, but my first real two consoles that I owned were the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Super Nintendo. Now, if you like this type of content, please give me a like and please subscribe to the channel. With that being said, let's get started. Now guys, I'm an OG video game player. I've been playing all the way back since the Atari, and I am now 44 years old. So I started out with the Atari, moved on to the Nintendo, and eventually ended up as a PlayStation user. And that's what I currently do. I've got the PlayStation 5 behind me and my video game collection. Now, this is not everything I own. I actually own a lot more, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, at this point in my life, I can tell you that there are about 7 game series that are my favorite of all time. Now, I'm going to start out with the classics, of course, the Super Mario Bros. Series, and of course, the Legend of Zelda. Now, some of my favorite Mario games of all time are Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo, as well as the Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Now, I definitely played these series on the previous console, but when it came to the Super Nintendo, these titles solidified these games as my favorites. As I moved on to the PlayStation console, I first bought my PlayStation 2 because of the game Madden. I had previously had it on my PC and just played it on my friend's PS1. And I finally got my own PlayStation, and that is definitely one of my favorite sports title series of all time. I just recently picked up Madden 26 and I've been playing it here and there, and it's still one of my favorites. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention Mortal Kombat. Absolutely my favorite 1 versus 1 fighter game of all time. Now, Street Fighter definitely comes in a close second, but nothing beats Mortal Kombat. Now, the next game up in my favorites is Monster Hunter. I didn't get into this series until Monster Hunter World in 2018, but ever since then, I've been playing all the games that came after it. And I've even played the Monster Hunter Stories 2 turn-based JRPG. Now, that one took a long time. It was in the Monster Hunter universe, and I love it. The next series up is, of course, Call of Duty. Now, I got into this series with Modern Warfare 3, the original one, but I didn't get back into it until Black Ops 4 in 2018. And since then, I've played every title every year since, except this one with Black Ops 7, because I got a little bit of a burnout. But nevertheless, still, this is my top favorite game. Now guys, it's not easy trying to make time for video games these days, especially as a person like me who's an adult with a full-time job who consistently volunteers for overtime. Plus, I'm married and I have 3 kids. Now, my kids are a little bit more grown up now, so I don't have to tend to them quite as much. That's why I was able to get back into gaming in 2018. But you have to spend time with your family. You have to have the perfect work-life balance. You can't just be on this game the whole time and neglecting your family, you know? And playing games, especially some single-player games, you can really get lost in the game when you need to just put it down and go hang out with your family. So that's the struggles of playing games as an adult. But there is something that I heard online one time, and I think it rings true. Now, if you're spending time with your wife and she goes to bed early, remember this phrase: when thy queen is asleep, my PlayStation will beep. Remember that one, guys. In addition to trying to fit in time with games, I also run 2 YouTube channels. this one right here, Video Game Bits, as well as a camping outdoors channel called One Perspective. Check it out if you get a chance and you're interested. But anyways, recording this stuff, trying to make the time to do this when everybody's out of the house to make videos like this so I can have some privacy, and then time to go away, go camping by myself and do videos, and then the editing that comes after that and producing the video. It's a lot of work. And sometimes when you start doing these videos, you kind of want to dedicate more time to that than even playing your video games. Being a parent who grew up with video games being a passion and trying to pass that on to my kids, that is a learning experience. And by that, I mean, you're trying to spoil your kids a little bit, buy them the consoles, the games, even bought my kids, their own PC, so they moved up to that level at this point. And you want to make sure that they're not obsessed with the games. They have a lot more free time than you do. And there's a lot more going on with games these days, especially because you can play them online. Back in the day, there was no online. It was couch co-op gaming, which is a lost art these days, and I miss it. I miss sitting beside a friend in person, playing a game with that human interaction. That is something that needs to come back. In 2018, when my kids had grown up a little bit more, I decided to get back into games seriously to get good. Now, I was really into games. I dedicated myself to this stuff. I was trophy hunting. I was putting in the hours. I was, completing the challenges in all the games. And it got to a point where, I really needed to spend more time with my family. So I had to do some shifting around. And also, I started to work more. So, gaming takes a back seat. Not only that, but I was going so hard at it, I think I got burned out a little bit. And we all need to do that sometimes. We all need to touch grass. Too much of anything, even if it's a good thing, can be bad. I definitely experienced that with games, and I had to take a break. I'm telling you, if you think that you were getting bored with the game or just worn out, just stop for like a week. Maybe even stop for up to a month and then go back to it. I promise you, if the spark is still there, you're still gonna love it. For me, no matter how burned out I get with games, I will always come back to it. This is a passion. This is an interactable art. This is something special that is bigger than music or movies. Games are close to my heart. And no matter how old I get, even if I'm not playing them all the time, I will still always value video games up here. Let me say this, playing video games as an adult, you're going to probably be better off trying to do single player games. At least if you're trying to play with your own friends, if you have any that actually play games, it's impossible these days, especially if your friends are in different stages of their lives. Maybe your kids are older and their kids are really young, so you're ready to get going and they're just getting started. Or maybe they work different job than you and they just don't have the time. There's so many factors why we can't play with our friends anymore. I even reached out online to some friends from high school and tried to get back into gaming with them. But either I found out that we really just kind of grew apart, didn't have anything in common, or they don't play the type of games that I play. Or if they do, they don't like the mode of game that I play. So it's kind of frustrating. I've talked about this before in games, but it wasn't until just in the past 5 or 6 years or so that we really got to talk to each other in games, or maybe even play each other in games as far as whether or not you had a different console. Back in the day, if I had a PlayStation and you had an Xbox, well, we were never going to play together. And when we finally did get to play together, we had to share this public lobby. And you know, if you know about these public lobbies, you're hearing all sorts of people, all sorts of behavior that is totally uncourteous to everyone else in the lobby. And finally they put in Discord, but it was kind of too late. When you finally got that Discord so you could have that private chat with your friends on different consoles, well, I think everybody kind of lost interest at that point. I think that the problem with gaming is there's a lot of FOMO out there. There is a lot of advertising to make you feel like you are going to miss out on everything if you don't get this game and you don't play this season at this point. There are just way too many games for you to ever be able to have a little bit of everything. I think that as an adult, you can really only play 1 or 2 games the whole year if you want to dedicate yourself to it. Otherwise, you're just really dabbling in this and you're not really getting invested in it. And if you can't get invested in the game, then what's the point? Now, I understand if maybe you don't have a lot of time, so you just jump on the game for 30 minutes or you get home late. When I first got back into games in 2018, I got a PlayStation 4. I wanted to build up this game library, and I very quickly learned that I just don't have the time to play all these games. I'm wasting my money trying to download all these digital games. And then I got to the point where I was like, wait a minute, we're just licensing these games. They could pull them off of the servers at a certain point and we couldn't play them again. So then I really got back into physical game collecting. And I've always been a physical game collector, but I ramped it up, different years here and there. And sometimes I'd buy a whole thing of a series or a particular game. And that's great, but it's not easy. The retro game market, the prices are way too inflated. They are definitely not worth what people are trying to charge you for. So I even got into modding. I modded a Wii U and I was able to do something called disc dumping, where you copy your own game that you own and you're able to just put it on a hard drive and play it off of there. You don't ever have to put the disc in again after that. And it's a great way to keep your games on the shelf, preserve what you have, and never lose it. I think by the time that I really realized that I wanted to do game collecting, it was a little bit too late. The cat was already out of the bag and everyone was doing it. I try to go to flea markets, yard sales, different things like this, but everybody had hiked up the prices. Sometimes you can get a good deal, but I want stuff that's in good condition too. It doesn't have to be in perfect condition, but it cannot be garbage. You're bringing that stuff in your home. It cannot be bug ridden. It cannot be stinking of cigarettes. It can't be grimy and bacteria filled. When you buy used games, some people don't take care of them. Some people do not care. All they care about is just making a quick profit on something they're trying to get out of their house. So there's a lot to collecting. If you want to display your games on a shelf like this, you have to know the amount of games you have. You have to know the dimensions of the games, because it's all got to fit on here. And then there's going to be some type of categorization. Are you categorizing it by console, game series, and a little cubby like this, it goes in too far. So if you try to put it at the front here, there's a lot of wasted space in the back. And in my house, there's a lot of vibrations. So eventually it's going to work its way back. It's really annoying when you're trying to keep everything like nice and neat. Now, there are methods you can go to get something this nice and neat, but it's more money you got to spend. And you're spending a lot just to get the collection you do. So as an adult, it's hard to catch up with your friends. It's hard to collect games that are overpriced. And it's hard to just squeeze in the time with your family and the work you're doing. But never give up. Always be a gamer for life. I'll leave you guys with this. Where do we go from here? You know, started up back in 2018, getting really serious. I learned how much money I should really be spending on this stuff and how much time I have to do it, and the work-life balance and spending time with my family versus the games, how important that was. You know, you just got to do what you can do. You got to do this in moderation, and you have to accept that although that kid in you that wants to play those games for way longer, this is just not the reality that you can do nowadays. I think there's a Bible verse that says, when I was a child, I did childish things. When I became an adult, I put those childish things away. Now, I don't think that playing video games is childish, but I think that if you overplay them, whether you're married or have kids or not, and that's all that you do, and you never just touch grass, go outside, get some fresh air, do something healthy for yourself, that's a bad thing. That's childish. So enjoy video games as much as you can, but understand the reality of life. Be good to your family, love your family. Do not neglect your family just for video games. Guys, if you watched the whole video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Now, I want to plug this. Buy physical games. It's something tangible that is yours forever. Recently, I've been picking up on the Madden series. I got back into it because of the video I did recently. And that's how it goes. Once I do a video game series, I kind of get back into it for a little bit. I want to show you guys this. Check that out. I got the Madden 20-year collector's edition. You know how much it cost me? $11. Can you imagine that back in the day? You wouldn't have got it for $11. And I also picked up 2 NES games, Star Tropics and Goonies 2. If you didn't do this on the way in, please do it on the way out. Give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and remember this: always keep a full loadout and never be afraid to be a rogue faction in a game full of NPCs. Guys, I cannot believe I almost forgot this. The Mortal Kombat Collector's Edition just came in. The Legacy Collection, right here. But guess what? They just sent the game. Where's all the other stuff? I'm supposed to get like this Goro statue that holds the controller and all these other little items. Apparently it's not coming until possibly May of 2026. What the heck, man? But in the meantime, I tried it out, played a few people online. They are good. But it's the latest game I get to add to my Mortal Kombat collection.